What's going on, everybody?
Well, hey there, guys. Welcome back to the Playbook YouTube channel. This week, we are going to be talking about the Ravens preview as they play the Indianapolis Colts in week 3. And we're also going to talk about how they've been doing in the past 2 weeks. All right. So let's look at what we've been doing the past 2 weeks.
Before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to give a special shout out to today's sponsors, starting with Gold Fine and Bowles, lawyers for the injured. Personal injury, workers' compensation, those are their two things, but any sort of legal advice, they're the people to call. Give them a phone call, 309-673-5144. Tell them we sent you, okay? And I'd also like to shout out SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video as well. Use promo code PlaybookSports on their website to get $20 off your first purchase of $30 or more. Let's get back to the video.
Through 2 weeks, we are only one of 2 AFC teams that are 2-0. That's right, one of 2. So right now, we're at top of the AFC. That's exactly where we expected to be. Everyone else expected the Bengals to be here. Look where they are, 0-2. All right. Lamar looks extremely efficient, more efficient than he ever has. His career completion percentage is about 64%. Right now, he's at 74.6, almost 75% completion percentage, which I was a little bit of not a doubter, but a little worried about Todd Monken coming in. I mean, last time we saw him in the NFL, he had Jameis Winston throwing for 30 and 30, which was a little hectic. But hey, we know how Jameis Winston is. He's gotten LASIK since then, so we'll keep an eye on the situation. But right now, I'm buying into Todd Monken, and it hasn't really suffered in our run game. That's amazing. I mean, we're running for almost 5 yards a carry as a team, 4.8 yards as of last week. We even ran for 175 yards without our leading running back in J.K. Dobbins, who tore his Achilles week 1. Prayers up, J.K. Dobbins. Wishing the best for you. Now, Gus Edwards does have a over 5 yards a carry for his career, which is absolutely insane. I love Gus the Bus. Big fan of him. And unfortunately, Justice Hill, our third stringer, is hurt this week. So we're going to be bringing up Melvin Gordon. He's going to be playing a few snaps for us, I'm assuming. Just hoping he doesn't fumble the ball. We know how Melvin Gordon likes to do that, but maybe the Ravens coached him up nice. Who knows? So yes, if you look at those 2 wins, we played the Houston Texans. Obviously, not a great win, 25-9, but didn't allow a touchdown. Scored more than 20 points. I mean, hey, it's a safe win, and I'm kind of looking at that almost like a preseason game for us. I know it's hard to win in the NFL, but when you look at that team, you don't want to give anything up right before playing the Cincinnati Bengals, which we did last week. And we really just ground and pound, kicked some field goals, did what we had to do to get out of there with the win. We're not doing anything flashy. Against the Bengals, however, Lamar looks fantastic, spreading the ball around to 8 or 9 different receivers. And with Nelson Aguilar, out of all people, being our leading receiver in week 2 with 62 yards and a touchdown. So very happy to see him spreading that ball around. He's not just going at Mark Andrews constantly, which I love to see, you know? So moving on to week 2, I can't ask for anything more. Through these 2 weeks, the Ravens defense have not allowed a first down in the first quarter. That's allowing our offense to get to the field and score, you know? And when our offense gets on that field and scores, they're just getting put in a bigger deficit over and over. And if we can keep doing that throughout the entire season, that gives our run game, which we know is historic, a better chance to succeed and just continue to ground and pound and, you know, just really make that lead comfortable for us, which I'm excited for. We're going to move on to week 3, though. This Colts preview. And I'm not going to lie, right now the line is about 7.5. If you looked at the episode right before this that we all did, the line was 8.5. You'll notice it went down a little bit. We have a few more injuries, but they have Anthony Richardson going out, as you know by now. So I don't know how close of a game it's going to be. So we're just going to go through the injuries just real quick to talk about, because that's why the line's going down. Marlon Humphrey, not coming back this week. I don't think so. Tyler Linderbaum, no. OBJ, out with an ankle as of last week. I didn't miss him too much when he went out. He had 29 yards, but just his presence on the field garners some attention. Marcus Williams still dealing with that pec injury. He'll be out. Ronnie Stanley, another starter on the O-line, is going to be out. Odafe Owe, going to be out. And like I mentioned before, Justice Hill is going to be out this week. There's some big names on that list. Granted, we are playing the Colts. The Colts are 1-1. Their one win is against the Houston Texans. But CJ Stroud doesn't look bad. So like it wasn't a roll me over game. It wasn't like an easy game for the Colts last week. I mean, they took care of business. They did what they had to do. But these Colts, what worries me the most here is these Colts have the second most sacks in all of the AFC right now. Now that worries me because we're losing 2 starting offensive linemen with Linderbaum and Ronnie Stanley. DeForest Buckner is wreaking havoc, as we all expected this year. He is absolutely worth whatever trade they used to get him. I believe it was 2 firsts. So he's been putting in work for that team, and it's showing. It's showing. They had 6 sacks last week against CJ Stroud. But that gives me a little bit of hope because they had 6 sacks against Stroud. He still threw for 380 yards on the Colts, 8 yards per attempt. Now, I'm not saying our offense is amazing yet, but it's better than Nico Collins and Damian Pierce and Tank Dell, in my opinion. I would take Tank Dell under Zay Flowers. I would take Rashad Bateman over Nico Collins. I have standards here. So let's just look at that right there. I think Lamar is going to go off this week. I think he's going to have to, especially against that D line. Our running game might be held in check a little bit. If we can get that lead, we're gonna try it. Gus the Bus, hey, 5 yards carry. Like I said, he's gonna go all he can. We're gonna see what happens though. The Colts do have the #1 run defense in the NFL though. They are allowing 2.6 yards a carry. That's a little scary for us considering running is our bread and butter. But it's nothing we can't handle. Like I said, Anthony Richardson is out, which means Gardner Minshew is in. Gardner Minshew, I'll say it. I love Gardner Minshew. I love Uncle Rico. He's a great guy. I'm rocking the stash just to spite him this week. Just to spite him. But I'll take Lamar every time. Gardner Minshew, there's a reason he's not a starter in this league. If you want a starting quarterback, I mean, we saw what Kirk Cousins did years ago in Washington. I mean, he took that starting job and he kept it for good reason. He's a good quarterback. Granted, he's not going to keep it over Trevor Lawrence, but if someone else needed a starter, they would see what he did in Jacksonville, which was good stuff. But he's not a starter for a reason. Let's not overhype this, you know? So as long as we can confuse Gardner Minshew, which I think is possible, our defense is pretty known for that, I think we have a good shot in this game. We're going to look at our keys to win this game for Baltimore right now. Now, #1, like I mentioned before, we are missing 2 starting offensive linemen, and that is scary. We got to protect Lamar. Without those 2 starters, and the #2 in the AFC for sack leaders, I mean, keeping him upright is going to be everything. Obviously, he's shifty. He's got that good pocket awareness, but he can't do everything. I will say Sam Mustipher last week, Bears, I don't know if you just ruined your players, but thank you. I will take all of him. I will take him because he was playing lights out last week. We did not allow a sack against the Cincinnati Bengals. Granted, they're not known for that, but it's hard to not allow 1 sack. In fact, it's the first time the Ravens have done that since September of 2022. So maybe Mustipher, maybe we find some ways to sprinkle him in there. A little 6-0 lineman in there. Maybe a little more run game. Who knows? He might be getting some more plays. I'm excited for it. #2, key to win this game. Confuse Gardner Minshew. Our defense is known for scheming and confusing offenses. Granted, I was kind of excited to play Anthony Richardson against Lamar Jackson, mostly because Anthony Richardson has very, very little, not knowledge of the game, but experience in this game. He did not play many college reps. So having him come in there, I was excited to confuse him as a defense. That's what we're known for as the Baltimore Ravens. That's what we thrive on, is making sure that those rookie quarterbacks see something that they've never seen before. Gardner Minshew has a little more experience in this league. I'll give him that. That's the one thing he has on Anthony Richardson, is he has played more in this league. So would I prefer to play Anthony Richardson? No, he's an athletic freak, but there's give and take in both of these starting quarterbacks. I will say Gardner Minshew, he's a gunslinger. Kind of reminds me of that Jameis Winston type guy. He's like, hey, fuck it, someone's down there, and just throws it up, which kind of worries me because our defense is just known for sometimes allowing giant plays at the least opportune times. But this defense seems to be a little different this year. I'm excited. Number 3, I want touchdowns, not field goals. Now, field goals have been prevalent in our wins ever since Jay Tuck has arrived on the scene. But with an offense like ours, we need to show the Colts immediately that we are better than them early. If we can put this game out of reach, the more chance we have to make them one-dimensional. And one-dimensional is my 4th key to win this game. Making them one-dimensional. If we can make sure that while their running game is not good, if we can shut down either their run or their pass and make them focus on that, we have a very good shot to win this game. A very, very good shot to win this game. I mean, we're 7.5 point favorites for a reason, but I've noticed that the Ravens like to play down to their opponents and they like to play up to their opponents. And while that is very frustrating, it makes for very entertaining TV. So let's shut down Zach Moss. Make Gardner Minshew beat us through the air. I mean, I'm a little worried about that because it's Rocky Sin on Michael Pittman, but hey, last week, Jamar Chase had how many yards? 36? Michael Pittman's no Jamar Chase. So let's keep that in mind. Number 5 is going to be let Zay cook. Zay Flowers has been an absolute godsend for the Ravens. Now, I've noticed over the years, we have drafted Rashad Bateman, who's still on the roster. I love Rashad Bateman, but he's not the world beater that we thought he was going to be. I mean, we draft wide receiver after wide receiver after wide receiver, and just nothing sticks. It gets frustrating after a while. But when you hit, you finally just get a taste of how the Steelers have been doing things forever, where they can draft a 5th rounder and it becomes Antonio Brown, or they just draft whoever and they become a fucking Pro Bowler, and it gets annoying. So hitting on a guy like Zay Flowers has been an absolute godsend for me. Dude is shifty as all hell. He has 5 red zone targets this year. I expect him to get more this game. I expect him to get his first NFL touchdown this game. And I'm putting money on that anytime touchdown. I'm excited for him. He's going to be playing in the slot mostly. But again, OBJ's out. He's going to be gobbling up targets. Gobbling them up. So give me Zay Flowers. I'm excited for him. That's about all I have for this week. I'm super excited for this game. I think it's going to be a lot better than people anticipate. But I hope you all check out the game, check out the pod, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, guys.